Now, I'm going to tell you why this story really pisses me off, because this year, for Pride, it was obviously a very complex year. It was a year fraught with a lot more danger than usual, and it was a year where you got to see on what side of the aisle corporations truly stand on, especially corporations like Target. Once they start becoming the targets of a lot of the far-right fascists who are just trying to eliminate trans people and LGBTQ plus people broadly, they suddenly are in a bit of danger as people use those very iconographies that they began to take as part of the rainbow wash, right? You get a lot of these corporations that for years were doing it in relative safely to say, hey, by the way, we're going to brand ourselves with the civil rights movement. You don't think about that when you're at the store and you see those wonderful aisles of rainbow everything and you're just like, oh, look at all this amazing stuff. It's so cool. You know, there's so much representation. Queer folk can buy shirts now just in local fucking Walmarts and really wear their pride. You don't think about all the blood that is sewn into the actual iconography of that fabric, right? You don't think about the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people that have suffered, died, been beaten, lynched, fucking all the horrifying stuff that has happened to queer folks over the years. And especially if they happen to be members of other marginalized communities like black queer folks, for example. You don't think of that when you put the shirts on, you know? You don't think of that when you buy the shirts. You're just like, cool, rainbows, nice, good design, let's go show my pride. You can even be straight. You can be 100% straight, cis person. You are not a queer, but you are very awesome and an ally, and you want to go out and you want to party, and you want to buy some gear. You get that gear, you go out and you have an awesome ass time with a bunch of the gays, because the gays throw the best parties, everybody knows that, and that's about all there is to it. Except for the people whose lives are affected by this kind of shit on a regular basis, except for the people who happen to be trans, except for the people who happen to be bi, except for the people who happen to be gay. And in that case, all of a sudden, when you have people like Matt Walsh, who are promoting this empire bigotry, making over $100,000 a month from it, by the way, on YouTube alone, that's what he said. That was his own account. He was making $100,000 US a month off his fucking empire of unscientific fear-mongering and stochastic terrorism. Matt Walsh has been one of the centerpieces of people on a regular basis who's been saying so much shit and then adding at the end, hey, by the way, here's their phone numbers. Hey, by the way, here's their addresses. This is all public information. I'm not doxing anybody. This is just the local school district's info. Here's all the teachers' emails. It's public information. Hey, here's the hospital. Here's the local names of all the names of the doctors, their email addresses, and the numbers you can reach their secretaries at. It's all public information. Do with it what you will. Bomb threat, bomb threat, bomb threat, bomb threat. And it's like, well, I mean, was it me? You know, was it Andy No? Was it Christopher Rufo? So here comes along Pride this year, and guess what? YouTube started doing some shit. YouTube started listening. YouTube out of nowhere was like, hey, by the way, Daily Wire, we're going to be striking a lot of your videos. All of a sudden, they're striking fuck tons of videos. All of a sudden, all the Daily Wire people started coming out. The Candace Owens, the Jeremy Boring, Matt Walsh, and all of them are like, I've been demonetized. My videos got taken down for hate speech. This video, blah, blah, blah. Why won't they let us have a debate? You know, YouTube is silencing us. They're silencing the debate. And everyone was like, thank fuck, you know, you're finally taking some of this seriously. People have been screaming at you, please, this stuff directly endangers trans kids. Don't let them profit from it, let alone broadcast it and amplify it with your massive network. Yes, you do have an in good faith responsibility to be able to handle hate speech, of which, based on your own definitions, Matt Walsh absolutely has been in violation multiple times of your terms of service, no question. I have played the video. We have read the full terms of service on stream. You know as clear as day, anyone, if you put side by side the shit that he says and does with their actual policies on hate speech, he violates them consistently. He's a huge channel, yes, but he violates their fucking terms of service on a regular basis, and they finally took a stance and they demonetized him. And now Pride's over. And it's back. So, good show, YouTube. That was awesome. You stood up for the gays for a couple months, and then now get back to making $100,000 a month. You know, just making queer kids' lives scarier. That's what it is. You know, growing up as a little queer kid now is going to be a little bit scarier because just like a person like Matt Walsh, he's got that massive platform. And he's doing this on a regular thing. Matt Walsh flouted YouTube guidelines with anti-LGBTQ plus hate speech after being stripped of advertiser revenue. The platform responded by restoring the revenue. In the 90 days since the Daily Wire personally announced the penalty, he repeatedly misgendered Leah Thomas and claimed LGBTQ plus people and allies were groomers, aka pedophiles. He's back to earning over $100,000 a month on YouTube ads. Matt Walsh reacted to this article by sharing it with his audience on Twitter, simply writing lol. Ari Drennan, the author, friend of the show. In an April 24 video posted to YouTube, Matt Walsh confirmed that his channel had been stripped of advertiser revenue, the first step to either permanent demonetization or ban from the platform, claiming that the penalty would cost him more than $100,000 per month. Walsh then explained that he could get back into YouTube's good graces and restore advertiser revenue to his channel simply by respecting preferred pronouns and refraining from offering any meaningful critiques of gender ideology. He didn't do any of that, misgendering Leah Thomas in multiple videos, attacking Bud Light, Disney, and Target with false accusations of groomers, promoting transgenderism, and claiming that LGBTQ+ activists demand child sacrifice. At least half a dozen videos punished after Walsh demonetization and reviewed by Media Matters appear to violate YouTubers' advertiser-friendly guidelines. 3 months later, YouTube restored advertiser revenue to the channel anyway. On August 25th, YouTube video titled "The Kids Are Now Being Forced to Learn Radical Gender Theory" features organic advertiser content, while Walsh declares that LGBTQ+ activists believe public schools should groom all kids, and that they demand you offer your children up to them as sacrifices on their altar. That seems like some pretty extremist language. You know, this weird thing that like center-right fucking, Adam and Sitches like to do, where they're like, hey, by the way, Sam Cedar, you did say that this person is a fascist. If you say they're a fascist, don't you think people are going to want to enact violence on them since you said they're barreling towards fascism? Isn't that a call to violence? And you're like, no, that's identifying someone who's spouting fascist beliefs. In this case, though, I could make an argument that if you were going forward and you're saying, hey, by the way, all of the queer people who are teachers are trying to molest and rape kids. All of them. And then, if they don't get to molest and rape them, they want to sacrifice their bodies. Yes. No, this is not blood libel. This is not any of that kind of shit. We're just calling it what it is. These are groomers, and they're trying to groom your kids. And please monetize me, YouTube. I would think that is, in some ways, going to incite some violence. I think some people are going to take it upon themselves, as they already have shown to do multiple times. Fans of Matt Walsh doing fucking straight-up terrorism. But, yeah, YouTube. You're the middleman in all this. You are facilitating this. Not only facilitating, but both of you are fucking profiting off this. And in this case, immensely. Matt Walsh is making $100,000 a year to do this kind of shit. Ad content now appears on Walsh's videos from before he was demonetized, including one in which he attacks trans TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney, misgenders her multiple times, calls her a, quote, monster of our own making, as well as a shorter version of the same brand focused entirely on Mulvaney and the influencer's connection to Bud Light. During his suspension from advertiser revenue, Walsh stopped posting the full version of his show to YouTube, opting instead to post it on Daily Wire's own website and X.com, formerly Twitter. But in shorter videos posted to YouTube, Walsh continued attacking Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light in defiance of YouTube's disciplinary ruling, with the May 5th video mocking the brand's poor sales, during which the podcaster declared it is going to make brands in the future think long and hard about promoting transgenderism. Walsh was flouting the YouTube guidelines didn't stop. In a video posted May 22nd, Walsh blasted former Vice President Mike Pence for siding with the Disney groomers, whom the Daily Wire person claimed support the, quote, castration and mutilation of kids and, quote, pornographic content in elementary schools. In the same day, Walsh called for boycott of Target, saying anyone who is making anything related to Pride, the Pride flag, and all that is satanic imagery. In a video posted on June 2nd contains some vivid verbal imagery. Walsh saying, we take Bud Light and we put a head on a pike, okay, at the entrance of town to show the other woke corporations this is what we can do. We can actually do this to you. We can destroy you. Walsh then pivoted to Target with a similarly blunt message. To be seen walking out of Target carrying the Target bag with the Target symbol, it's like you are also a groomer, or you're a groomer too. Again, this is pretty extremist language, you know? Again, if you were to do this to other groups, if he was saying suddenly the same thing about other groups of people, if he was saying this about the Jews, if he was saying this about black people, if he was saying this about indigenous people, a lot of people would be like, holy fuck, did he just say that he wants to put a head on a spike as a symbol in front of it? Yeah, he did say that. That's pretty extremist. But I guess this is the category where YouTube's like, I don't know. Well, what are we supposed to do? Free speech, right? Well, I don't know. I mean, bare minimum, you don't have to give him money because that fuels this, you know? If you're giving him $100,000 a month, that's a lot of money that he can use, both for personal enrichment, thereby very well showing that there's a big fucking profitability to be had in hatred, hate speech especially, as well as the fact that he can also use that money, as can the company, the Daily Wire, to push more bigotry into the world. And again, make queer kids' lives scarier. And I do think you have a responsibility, because I know some people like hiding behind the whole, like, well, what about the, you know, the section that allows social media companies to be able to not be responsible for the content of the people who post in there. That is done in good faith. They have a terms of service. They are not abiding by their terms of service. They are making an exception for their terms of service in Matt Walsh's case. That's what's happening here. It's clear as day. I mean, good job on Ari for like pointing out all of the like very clear evidence that not only was he not abiding by the rules, but just like fucking straight up, you know, holding up a middle finger to them. Walsh also attacked former University of Pennsylvania swimmer Leah Thomas throughout an interview with one of Thomas's former teammates over a year after her final swim meet. Walsh repeatedly dead-named and misgendered the swimmer. Walsh himself seemed aware that he was violating YouTube's policy guidelines as he promoted the interview 2 days later in a separate video, instructing viewers that they could find the video on Twitter or YouTube at least until YouTube takes it down. Walsh misgendered Thomas in the video as well. In a video posted June 9th, Walsh called me depraved and insane for defending the rights of adults to seek gender-affirming care. Without ad context, Walsh started inserting ads for Gold Skincare, a brand Genicel, ExpressVPN into his monologues. At the same time, Walsh exonerated YouTube for its guidelines, saying, now they decide to see if they will use the word him in relation to a man who prefers to be seen as a woman. Now that's harassment. The platform blinked first. The Social Blade previously estimated Walsh's annual advertiser revenue to be as high as $1.6 million last year. Now, following his return from demonetization, he could be making as much as $1.4 million a year for sharing content last year with the title Transphobe of the Year. This kind of content fuels dangerous real-world actions. A San Bernardino mother of 9 was shot in August defending the pride flag in front of her store. The shooter previously shared Walsh's call to boycott Target and had pinned an image of a burning pride flag to the top of his account on X. In a statement to Media Matters confirming the initial demonetization, the spokesman for YouTube wrote, "We suspended monetization of Matt Walsh's channel due to repeated violations of our YouTube partner program policies, which include our advertiser-friendly guidelines. These policies apply equally to all creators." No, they fucking don't. Regardless of political viewpoint, and channels that repeatedly violate these policies are demonetized. YouTube's hate speech policy prohibits content that promotes violence or hatred against individuals or groups based on, amongst other categories, gender identity and expression and/or sexual orientation. Walsh repeatedly violated those policies during his suspension, and YouTube is rewarding him with cash by the truckload. And again, it's one of those things where we'll probably forget it in a year's time when Pride rolls around and YouTube gets all gay and puts on the rainbow and then fucking makes a whole bunch of videos and then does a couple little things. You get some breadcrumbs, right? All of a sudden, queer community, hey, guess what? We're going to do the below bare minimum for a little while. We're going to demonetize a couple of the really yikesy videos that I know a lot of you are saying are directly endangering your community before we start using your community to brand ourselves. So we're going to use your whole civil rights movement to brand ourselves, and then at the same time, we're going to give you guys again a little bit of a crumb here, okay? I know things are rough, and this Matt Walsh guy, he's like not on the up and up, so he's going to be demonetized for a bit, a little bit. It could come back. We don't know. We'll find out in the future. But like that, this is for you because we love you, right? Thanks for the branding. That's awesome. That makes me really sad, by the way. It really fucking sucks, especially with all the other shit going on.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This show is produced by amazing people like you, and if you want to help us out, please consider donating over at patreon.com/theserfs. The show is made possible thanks to Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, La Media Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Pappy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Sir Nickus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demo, Tech Tink, Trevbot EXE, Words Greenwood, and not to mention all of the amazing and fabulous people you now see before you.